A very good evening and a warm welcome. Thank you so much yet again for joining us on Uctv News. I am Nora Sende to bring you the bulletin. It is the very first day of October and I wish you all a very lovely month ahead. Well, before we get into the bulletin this evening, let's take a look at the headlines.
In our headlines tonight, we won't fight with you. Nobody will cut your garden. Nobody will arrest you.
Ministry of Agriculture launches a nationwide coffee farmer registration to comply with the EU deforestation regulation.
And I want someone who will buy. And I may buy cattle. So really, this is a market issue. And yesterday we had this matter come up in Cabinet.
Cabinet to decide on the Marsham Falls road toll fees amidst Karuma Bridge closure.
With the scientists, the conservationists, so that we make a case.
This is Uctv News and thank you for staying with us. Starting our bulletin this evening, the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries has initiated a nationwide registration exercise that's for coffee farmers aimed at ensuring compliance with the European Union deforestation regulation. Now, while addressing the exercise in Kampala today, Honorable Frank Tumwebaze emphasized that this move is essential for maintaining Uganda's access to international coffee markets. He also dispelled rumors of impending taxation on coffee farmers, which had been spread by some political actors.
As an attempt to combat climate change and environmental degradation, in December 2022, the European Parliament approved the European Union Deforestation Regulation, EUDR, which is aimed at ensuring that supply chains remain free from products contributing to deforestation and forest degradation. Bearing in mind that the deadline for compliance to this regulation is the 30th of December 2024, the Ministry of Agriculture, its agents, UCDA, private sector players in the cost value chain, and development partners have prioritized registration of coffee farmers as a way of enabling traceability of Uganda's coffee and prove that its source farms have not contributed to deforestation.
And bearing that the deadline for compliance to this regulation is the 30th of December 2024, the Ministry of Agriculture, its agency UCDA, private sector players in the coffee value chain and development partners have prioritized registration of coffee value chain actors so as to enable traceability of our coffee and prove that our source farms have not contributed to deforestation.
Honorable Tumwebaze refuted the claims that the exercise is another attempt by the government to subject coffee farmers to another form of taxation.
There was a proposal to register coffee farmers, not actually a proposal, a provision. But some people criticized it, some people did not understand it. People were saying it's targeting coffee farmers for tax. Far from that. It was intended to create a traceable value chain that has integrity, trusted by the entire world. Because coffee is not only produced for our other cultural practices of kusala no nemulya.
Meanwhile, the minister also highlighted on the two recently signed protocols between Uganda and China, which is aimed at streamlining the export of both dried chilies and wild aquatic products from Uganda to the People's Republic of China.
So the protocol clarifies what to be exported and what not to be exported under that category. So that was the first protocol we were able to sign, to negotiate and sign successfully between Uganda and China. Protocol number 2 is on inspection, quarantine and sanitary requirements. The protocol formalizes an agreement on the export of dried chilies as it opens up the door to accessing one of the world's largest chili consumer markets.
The agreement, which was signed by the Vice President of Uganda, Jessica Alupo, during the 9th China-Africa Cooperation in Beijing, requires prospective Ugandan exporters to apply and register with the General Administration of Customs of the Republic of China, express interest in exporting by formally writing to the Ministry of Agriculture, which will expeditiously dispatch a unit of technical officers to assess the exporter's compliance before recommendation. Joseph Kabale, UCTV News.
Now, Cabinet is set to make a decision next week regarding the fees charged by the Uganda Wildlife Authority to passengers driving through the Marshall Falls National Park with their own vehicles. Now, this comes in response to the ongoing closure of Karuma Bridge for repairs, forcing passengers to seek alternative routes. The State Minister for Tourism, Martin Mugara, clarified on the fees are necessary to help sustain conservation, as it's difficult to distinguish between tourists and the ordinary passengers.
But also misinformation from my colleagues and from members of the public about the issues that as a result of the repairs of the Karuma Bridge. And I want to thank government for taking this initiative to resolve the issue of the Karuma Bridge once and for all. Indeed, over the years, there's been flooding along the Gulu highway, and a couple of times we've been opening the park, especially the route of Kichumbanyobo, which is a Masindi route through the park to Pakwach, free of charge, but that's usually for a couple of days. So we've been doing this whenever there are challenges. But just to tell you, there are three main routes to northern Uganda through Marshall Falls National Park. And they were gazetted differently since 1926. This park has been in existence since 1926. And the designers of the access to northern Uganda then made three main roads. And all those three main roads go through Marshall Falls National Park. The first one is the Gulu Highway over the Karuma Bridge that is being repaired. That road has a section that goes through the park, which is a section of around 40 kilometers. The second road that we are speaking about is the Kichumbanyobo gate that goes through Masindi, Para to Pakwach. And the third one is the route that goes through Bulisa. You can drive from Kampala through Hoima to Bulisa and enter through Bugungu Gate to Para Steel, to Tangi Gate. Those are three main gates through the park. Now, from the time Karuma Bridge was closed, because we were charging entry fees for both roads, the one in Bulisa and the one in Masindi, we agreed to allow access on the Bugungu axis free of charge. We are not charging anyone any money. The difference between the person who uses the Bugungu road, the Bulisa road through the Bugungu gate, and the one who uses the Masindi route is just a difference of 30 kilometers, 28 to 30 kilometers, and that road is fully tarmacked. So we agreed that we allow access on the other side, but we keep this one for tourism. Now, and as we speak, we've still allowed the buses that offer free transport, because they are easy for us to manage and monitor. We've allowed them through free access through the Tangi Masindi road through Kichumbanyobo, and it's working properly. And yesterday we had this matter come up in cabinet. We had a discussion, and His Excellency guided that we reappear in cabinet on Monday with the scientists, the conservationists, so that we make a case before cabinet. Because I'm a politician, these are issues of science, not politics. I think it's important that we differentiate the two. So my prayer is, as of now, let's be patient. Let's go back to cabinet. Like we've told you, we've allowed access for buses. But also, just if I told you the impact of opening up this park really to everyone. First of all, it will be difficult for us to differentiate a tourist from someone who is going through the park normally, just for transit purposes. It becomes really extremely difficult. But also for tourists, if some of you have moved through that park, with the heavy traffic on that road, definitely the whole environment changes. The quietness, the serenity that people pay for to go and experience really is lost. And of course it comes with a lot of littering. We are already seeing it even as we are managing the buses. But like I've told you, this park has been has not been receiving noise. You see, these animals are also very interesting. Since 1926, there has not been a lot of traffic in that park. There has been a lot of silence. So now all of a sudden, you're going to bombard them with noise. Definitely they will move further.
From various educational institutions from across the country have enrolled for the forthcoming NASA International Space App Challenge. That's a two-day hackathon organized by the US and NASA. Now, while launching the challenge, Dr. Doreen Agaba, the head of Uganda Aeronautics and the Space Science Bureau, encouraged Ugandans for technological innovators to have confidence in their technological ideas by emphasizing the government's support.
The NASA International Space Apps Challenge provides an opportunity for participants to utilize NASA's free and open data and its space agents' partner space-based data to address diverse real-life problems on Earth and in space. The challenge brings together coders, scientists, designers, storytellers, makers, technologists, and innovators worldwide to create solutions to global challenges stemming from a variety of topics like medical, engineering, astronomy, among others. This year, about 200 participants under the Kampala chapter, especially students from various education institutions, have so far enrolled for the forthcoming challenge, which is being hosted by Uganda Institute of Information and Communications Technology, UICT. While officially launching the challenge at the National ICT and Innovation Hub in Nakawa, Dr. Doreen Agaba motivated the enrolled participants to have confidence in whichever technological ideas they come up with because they have the government's support.
Space technology is not foreign to black people. Technology as a whole is not foreign to black people. So own it. Don't go innovating in an area that you think is foreign and it is far-fetched and it's hard for you to reach. It's not natural to you. And I want to demonstrate to you this. We have found several innovations from Zambia, from Ghana, from several African countries, even black people. In fact, the first air equipment, I don't know why I want to call it an airship, that was flown, it was before the Wright brothers. It was by a slave black gentleman. So as you do your research, this is not racist talk, but we want you to own what you're doing. We don't want you to enter an innovation space when you're feeling inferior already. Own it. This is technology that is running with your DNA. It is within you. And we need you to bring out the technology and innovations that the world has not yet seen.
In the same spirit, Gustavus Rutwara, a UICT lecturer in charge of research and innovation, reiterates Dr. Agaba's plea of Ugandans, especially the females, to make sure that they get involved in this challenge for the betterment of Uganda's space science and technology industry.
It's exciting to begin innovations in space technology. That is a space, as we had our guest speaker saying, it's a bit foreign. But I'm glad that we are really encouraging our young people, UICT, and not just UICT, but all over the country from higher education institutions particularly, to participate. And let me use this time to make a call, especially to the girls in innovation. For example, keen point, we have a number of mentors. By the way, I should talk about mentors. Mentors are coming from a broad spectrum of area, from industry, from academia, technologists. So they are going to be talking to our participants to tell them about the challenges, explain the concerns, but also be with them all the way for those 2 days to guide them as they innovate. We believe that we should be able to have a Ugandan group represented globally, and what exciting it will be for Ugandans to come on top of this challenge.
Dr. Bekamatov, the head of the Electric and Computer Engineering Department at Makerere University, insists that Ugandans should use this opportunity to innovate solutions to the inherent challenges facing the country and the planet at large.
We ought to use this space to innovate solutions that could affect that could provide solutions to our problems that are inherent around us. So with students here at the university level attending such a challenge, they can come up with solutions, they can innovate new ways of doing things in space, whereby students can innovate great ideas and use them to solve many of the pressing challenges around the globe, things like climate change, spread of diseases, studying how the demography of people is happening around us. So this is all important for people to analyze what is happening in space and use that information to really provide us with information that can lead us to maybe viable solutions that can help us innovate creatively and create ways of solving the pressing problems around us on the globe.
Lejeken, one of the ambitious participants, highlights on some of the disciplines through which they intend to demonstrate their innovative skills.
There could be a need for some systems, maybe satellites, that can address that problem, as well as give us alerts on different areas within the country that could have potential disasters like that. Talk about our aquatic life. When you look at our Lake Victoria, as well as various water bodies, our aquatic animals face problems from poisoning, as well as the conducive environment that can favor these aquatic animals. These areas need to be addressed. For areas in maybe the Lake Albertine regions where they are mining oil, these are also potential areas where we could need to do some research about. Is the oil that is being mined going to affect the water bodies around?
Uganda's joining the NASA International Space Apps Challenge can be interpreted as the government's commitment to steer the country's digital transformation agenda into actualization. The challenge takes place on October 5th to 6th under the global theme, "The Sun Touches Everything," with the project submissions due by 11:59 p.m. local time, and the winners will be selected for 10 global awards and also invited to an in-person celebration with NASA leadership. Joseph Kabale, UCTV News.
Now, the Democratic Party has distanced itself from the pressure group DP Bloc, which recently endorsed Honorable Mathias Mpuuga as its 2026 presidential candidate. Now, speaking at the party headquarters in Mengo, acting DP spokesperson Ismail Kiria stated that the party has no affiliations with DP Bloc and rejects the agenda of what he describes as opportunists. Kiria urged DP members to ignore misleading messages from individuals pursuing personal ambitions rather than the country's greater good.
Last week we had some incidents where some people were masquerading as DP Bloc members, and they went ahead to also endorse a presidential candidate in the coming general elections. We had many calls regarding the incidents where members were asking whether DP has already endorsed a non-member of the party to be the presidential candidate. We want to take this opportunity to inform the general public that DP Bloc was a body which was agreed upon to mobilize the former DP members through the UID reunion caravan. It was clearly stated was the main principle of the memorandum of understanding which we signed as the DP Bloc members. However, when the party was formed in the name of NUP, some members decided to move to be part and parcel of the new party. In that instance, they continued to use the name DP Bloc because we saw them, some of them after saying DP Bloc joins NUP. The Democratic went to court and challenged the name DP Bloc, the memorandum of understanding, because it was being used against the Democratic Party. Yet it was under the same, the main principle of the MOU. The courts of law and the court at large dissolved an entity called DP Bloc. And currently we don't have any entity called the DP Bloc. Whoever is calling himself a member of the DP Bloc is just a masquerader. Because without the Democratic Party as the main principle, DP Bloc doesn't exist.
Well, that takes us for a quick break. When we return, UCTV News continues. It's great to have you back on UCTV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Moving on with our bulletin this evening, Reverend Father Gonzaga Wazwazi, the youth chaplain of Soroti Catholic Diocese, emphasizes the vital role of young people in shaping the future of the church. According to him, the active participation of youth in church movements not only strengthens their faith but also cultivates leadership skills that are essential for the growth and sustainability of the church.
So I want to say that the youth should also take up leadership roles in the church. There's nothing like saying that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. No, they should begin today. And I'm happy for those few youth leaders who have taken up the leadership role in the church. And it's a source of encouragement. And I also want to ask others also to be fully involved in the church leadership. You can be a leader of Legion of Mary. You can be a leader of the charismatic group. You can be a leader of the fellow youth, the suburb of Uka and the neighbor of Uka, something like that. That's already beginning a leadership role. You don't have to. There's no school where you can go to learn leadership or experience. It begins by your involvement. So I want to urge the youth to be involved in the church affairs. In that way, they will be relevant. We want a relevant youth today. We want youth who speak to fellow youth. We want youth who evangelize fellow youth. That could be another point that I can add there. That the youth are instrumental in the evangelization mission of the church. And I want to urge, of course I know that there are youth who are belonging to movements and associations of the church, like YCS, like Focolare, like Legion of Mary, and other devotional groups in the church. But when you are there, let your being there not just a matter of filling the gap as a member, but let your being there be felt by others, so that when you are not in the group, you are able to affect others and even infect others with the doctrines that you have learned. For example, the YCS, they approach life using a methodology of see, judge, act. If we apply the same methodology in life, even in our churches will be strong.